Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today we are here to talk about a new doctor. I do need to get a new doctor. I think it's time.
No, we're actually talking about the newest doctor, which of course is
just graduated from medical school.
Or
just graduated from medical school.
That was absolutely shocking. Because wait,
and then they're making us wait until is it Christmas this year or next year that we finally get the actual storyline?
If we get the actual storyline, it will not be this year.
Yeah,
because they would have already had to do that.
But no, we're actually talking about the doctors of the church, because there are now 38 official doctors of the church in the Latin Rite. As
the newest one was declared on November 1st, but it raises the question: what is a doctor of the church?
Yes, I was going to point out. A few saints have been called a doctor unofficially, occasionally Vatican's, the Pope mentions it, and he didn't do it in the official capacity. That he's not declaring a new doctor.
Yeah.
And then the various Eastern rites have their own lists that are largely the church fathers. Their list doesn't include a lot of modern ones because there's less official saints in the Eastern rites that are new.
Yeah, and they're certainly not going to do anybody, West, if the Orthodox have their own version, they're not going to do anybody. They're not going to do anybody from the West after the schism.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you become a doctor? Step 1:
die.
Be dead.
Do we have to link to how to be a saint? Because step 1 is to be a saint,
which requires you to be dead.
Or in one case, get named a saint so you can then be named a doctor.
Yes.
At least one. There might have been a couple when I looked at those names and went.
But
I know of one.
That's the very clear expedient of, I want to declare this woman a doctor of the church. Holy Father, she's not even a saint. I can fix that.
Yeah, we all know she is. We just didn't fill out the paperwork. It's Italy.
It's
Germany. So 3 requirements. Number 1, you have to already be a saint. Or at least you've got to be, it's got to be so desirous to make you a doctor that they'll make you a saint because everybody already presumes it to be true.
So you're a canonized saint.
Number 2, you have to be known for your eminent learning, particularly with regards to some facet of the faith usually.
And here it's important to note, doctor derives from the Latin word which means teacher.
Yes.
You can compare doctor to doctrine.
Yes.
So it's not just someone who lived a holy and exemplary life. That's why they're a saint. To be a doctor, you had to have made some contribution to learning.
Some significant contribution to learning in regards to the church, church doctrine, or theology.
Yeah. You can be a great scientist, but you're not going to be made a doctor of the church for your discoveries in physics.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what the Nobel Prize is for.
Yes. Usually they wrote something important on it. Some of them include Christian living, because there's some people that are doctors of the church, and they're not the people that you would first think of, oh, yes. There's some on the list you're like, yes. They wrote down all the theology. They should be on this list.
Yeah.
And the other ones are they wrote a diary.
And criteria number 3, the church, and in general, the Pope, has to declare you one.
An official proclaiming.
Yeah. It can't just be, we widely regard this person as this. You need more than the sensus fidelum. You need an actual declaration of saying, yep, doctor.
Mm-hmm. So, most people at this point are wait, there's 38 doctors of the church?
There are.
So, we have, for this episode, everyone who's officially, as this point, a doctor of church, and what title they have written in English. All these titles are, for the most part, in Latin, but this is translated so we don't have to stumble over doctore de, etc.
You guys don't need to hear us butcher Latin.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's in the order of the way they were, the time they were proclaimed one. So I didn't want to then go and have to figure out who was born first.
Yeah. So this is the order in which they became doctors.
Yeah.
Starting out the list, Gregory the Great.
The Pope.
He doesn't have a specific title as far as I'm aware, but he is considered to be one of the 4 great Latin fathers.
A theme you will see for the next 3 slides.
Yeah, because these were the first 4 guys declared doctors of the church way back in 1298.
Number 2, Ambrose.
Also known as Ambrose of Milan.
Yes.
The guy who had a brain so big that it impressed Augustine.
Yep. Following that up, Augutine of Hippo.
who is arguably one of the two most influential Christian theologians. 3 if you count St. Paul, but he's normally in a separate category.
Yes.
And along with being one of the 4 great Latin fathers, he's also called the Doctor of Grace. Because pears.
Because pears.
Yep. And then rounding out the 4 great Latin fathers, Jerome, as in the guy who helped go and consolidate the books of the Bible into one thing.
Yeah, the saint who gives all of us who are grumpy great hope, because
he is Grumpy Cat in human form.
Lived in a cave in which he thought was the cave of the Nativity. St. Jerome. Mm-hmm. Okay, those are the 4 great Latin doctors. The next guy...
everybody's heard of this. You've never heard of this guy.
Extremely obscure.
Yep.
He's really obscure. When you hear his name, you're gonna be like, "Wait, who?"
We're gonna stumble through this one. It's Saint Thomas
Aquinas, or as he's known, the Angelic Doctor,
also known as the Common Doctor,
and the Doctor of Humanity or Humanness, because Latin to English.
Humaneness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I feel like this is wrong.
Yes. Change that to Greek.
Okay, there we go. That makes more sense. So following up, St. Thomas.
So you had the 4 early Latin fathers.
Yep.
Then you have Thomas. Then it was decided just after Thomas, we gotta
go and recognize. Yep. We gotta go and recognize the other side, the whole other side of the equation.
As St. John Paul II taught us over and over again, the church needs to breathe with both lungs, east and west.
So we have the first of the 4 great Greek fathers,
St. John Chrysostom.
Yep.
It's fun to say Chrysostom.
Sorry,
Chrysostom.
Chrysostom.
Potato.
Golden Ton. Old Goldie.
Old Goldie.
Following that one up, Basil the Great.
His very good friend, Gregory of Nazianzus, also known as Gregory the Theologian.
And then one of our favorite
because we don't have enough of that. We haven't had enough of them lately. Athanasius.
The great Athanasius of Alexandria, who stood alone, not actually alone, but alone against the whole world.
Yes, if it wasn't for the fact that there's 23 Athanasi, this would be the Athanasi.
You're thinking of Anastasi.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right, I am. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yes. Although I'm pretty sure we did a few other Anastasius that were not him.
So just when people say Athanasius, they basically mean this
him.
guy.
Yep. Following up our great Greek fathers, we have a man who is so well known, he needs only one name. St. Bonaventure, the Seraphic Doctor.
The first Franciscan doctor of the church, given his name by Francis himself. Next, the great Englishman, St. Anselm of Canterbury. By Englishman, I mean Italian, but came to England.
The Magnificent Doctor, also known as the Marian Doctor.
Ooh.
And number 12, rounding out the first dozen, we have a guy that we actually hold in very high esteem here at the Popish plot.
An early favorite for patron of the internet.
Yep. St. Isidore of Seville.
The man who literally invented encyclopedias.
Who does not have a title.
But thankfully did not invent door-to-door encyclopedia salesman.
No, that was Satan.
Yeah, that was.
Next, we've got St. Peter Chrysologus. Peter of the Golden Words. Regarded in some ways as a Western or Latin equivalent to John Chrysostom.
Okay.
Some people say Chrysostom.
After that, we have Leo the Great, known as the Doctor of the Church's Unity.
Because when later, when they were having some great controversy, and a legate read a letter known as the Tome of Leo, the Eastern bishops all just rose up with one voice and said, "Peter has spoken." Leo. And of course, we're all going to learn more about Leo now that we have a Pope Leo.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Next.
again, once you have a great, you need to pick a new name. How are you ever going to compete?
You could be the also ran. The pretty okay. Leo the mediocre.
Leo the second best.
Leo,
close but no cigar.
my new Pope name, Pope Leo the not so bad.
I will be Pope Leo the not so good.
Although, no.
Whoa.
Okay, that sounds like good. But Pope Leo is from the second city, so I guess he's fine with being, second place. So.
But
All right, but number 15 on the list of doctors of the church.
St. Peter Damian, a great Benedictine reformer of the 1000s.
Number 16 is a name you've heard of before here, I'm sure. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, the mellifluous doctor.
Ooh, which means like honeyed doctor. Very smooth and whatnot. 17, Saint Hilary of Poitiers, who was the when he was still a bishop, he's the one who ordained Saint Martin of Tours.
Number 18, Alphonsus Liguori, the most zealous doctor.
He is a great example of a learned man who was extremely close to Christ through being constantly persecuted within his own order.
Oh, here I thought he was going to be the man who coined the phrase, look, you can either be part of the solution or you can be part of the problem. Stop being part of the problem.
He very well may have. Next, we've got a great salesman.
Yep.
St. Francis de Sales, the doctor of charity. The gentleman saint.
Yep. Followed by Cyril of Alexandria, doctor of the incarnation.
Not to be confused with the next one, Cyril of Jerusalem.
Who has no doctor title.
Womp womp.
Nor does our next one, St. John Damascene.
Although that is surprising, since he argued so forcefully in favor of iconography. You'd think they'd be like the iconic doctor or the doctor of icons.
Yeah, there's a lot of ones where I'm like, given their life, you'd think they'd give them a title by now.
Yeah, we gotta work on that. Anyway, John Damascene. Next,
Especially with 23, which I get why, but it seems like a little bit of a cop-out of Bede the Venerable, the doctor of the English.
well, he was the first genuine Englishman to become a doctor. He did a lot of writing in Old English as well as the Latin.
Yes, it totally makes sense, but most of the things are, essentially what branch of theology and Christian belief they helped on. And
Enculturating it into the Anglo-Saxons.
he's like,
And
he wrote one thing that makes every year all the pagans insist that Easter is their holiday.
Woo!
Did he not write that? One line.
Now, of course, it's fun because he was known as soon as he died as the Venerable Bede. So once he was canonized, trying to preserve that, Saint Bede the Venerable.
Yes.
Yep.
Good guy.
After them, rounding out our second dozen, Ephrem the Syrian. No special name. Perhaps this is someone we'll need to talk about at some point in time in the future.
Indeed. Next, number 25, St. Peter Canisius, who is an early Jesuit, most responsible for re-Catholicizing large parts of Germany that had been lost to the Lutherans and other Protestants.
Yep. Number 26
A
is
name you'll know.
St. John of the Cross.
He's the writer of all that poetry you haven't read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Spanish poetry that's super manly about flowers and going out to the garden at night.
Deep. So deep. He's the mystical doctor.
Because the poetry's deep.
So deep.
And continuing along with names that you know, to be honest, I think as we go, you're going to find most of these names are names you've probably heard of.
Well, I mean, again, we're talking, there's only 38 of these guys in the whole church, so they're pretty much heavy hitters.
Right, but I'm just saying, we're moving chronologically towards modern times.
So some of the first ones were early saints that people might not necessarily know. Some of these ones are ones where, you probably have a statue of in your church.
Yeah, or there's a local parish named after them.
But if you've never heard the name, St. Robert Bellarmine,
Galileo's friend.
I'm going to have to ask, are you really Catholic?
Yes, you can be really Catholic and not know one of the saints.
Nope.
Not know one of the saints, but this one?
This is the one guy you gotta know.
I feel like this is leading very English-speaking Catholic.
Hello? We're Americans. Duh.
Yes, everyone speaks English because we won't learn any other language.
Because we insist on it.
Hey, we're all monoglots here. Next, on number 28, St. Albertus Magnus.
Guy's so great that they couldn't even use the word great to describe him. They had to go with the Latin version of it.
Well, again...
I mean, he's also called Albert the Great, but it
in
sounds cooler this way.
Well, this is the one that we didn't translate. In English, Albert the Great. But again, we've talked about him before. He was called Albert the Great while still alive. He is the universal doctor because he was great.
Although, sadly, he is still second best to his student because...
if your student is Aquinas, yes.
He was sitting way up in the first,
Although I will say, Albert gets to be the universal doctor, whereas Thomas has to be the common doctor. He was both born before and died after the dumb ox.
The next one is another one I'm going to insist that if you don't know this name, you need to get thyself to a church.
Well, at the very least, you've never lost anything if you don't know his name.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories of Protestants who have relatives who are Catholic who call up their Catholic friend or family member to be like, I lost something. Ask the guy the thing.
Yeah. And that guy, of course, is
St. Anthony of Padua.
The evangelical doctor.
And not the doctor of lost keys.
Well, this is the thing. So, St. Anthony of Padua is a great intercessor, but he's a doctor of the church.
For great theology.
For great theology, he preached so elegantly that animals listened to him when people wouldn't. He was the Franciscan who got St. Francis to change his mind about letting Franciscans own books.
Which, I mean, St. Francis, he was stubborn.
He was.
He's also not on this list.
He had a different charism. But Anthony of Padua is a doctor of the church, and all we ever use him for is, I lost my keys. Useful, but like, I'm as guilty of this as anyone. We should read more of his theology.
Next, number 30. Getting close to the end here. We have St. Lawrence of Brindisi, the apostolic doctor.
Another Franciscan, one of the great saints of the Catholic Reformation. Next, we come to the two first female doctors of the church.
Well, technically, the three first females.
Oh, you're right. In sequence.
In sequence.
But two of them were canonized together and then one... Well, the doctors together and then one a little later. Mm-hmm. Number 31, the great St. Theresa of Avila. The doctor of prayer.
Followed up with Catherine of Siena, who is not the doctor of telling the Pope to get back to Rome, an important job that she did.
The doctor of man up, Pope,
but was totally the doctor of calling the Pope out on the Pope's bullshit.
You can understand why, if you're Pope, you don't want to declare anyone the doctor of that, even though it was a good and holy thing at the time, because like that might invite imitators. And the third,
rounding the whole thing out, we got the Doctor of Love. Therese of Lisieux.
Not that kind of love.
No, of course not. But
also known as the Doctor of Synthesis.
Yes, I double-checked to make sure it wasn't just one website saying something crazy, but no, based off the actual Latin roots and stuff and how she connected things.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, but she's a saint that Jess was talking about earlier. You know, Augustine has voluminous writings, especially from when he lived.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas has the voluminous writings because the church did such a great job of preserving everything that he tried to burn. St. Therese, she wrote one fairly short book, and she died at the very tender age of 24. But still,
there's a lot of truth in that book, though.
And thus, she has a lot to teach us. I mean, her little way... For most of us, that's the kind of sainthood we're called to. We're not going to be called, like Albert, in our own lifetime, the Great.
No, most of us are not going to be called like Catherine of Siena
to yell at the Pope.
To yell at the Pope about the stuff that he's doing that he shouldn't be doing.
I know. In our social media age, everybody wants to yell at the Pope. I would simply caution us all: maybe be as holy as Catherine before you yell at the Pope.
Yes, and
and as humble as Therese.
Yes, and although Therese's book is not my favorite because of the time it was written, it was written in a style that it's very purple prose and stuff.
And French.
In French. Well, I read the English translation.
But it's translated from the French.
Yeah. But there is a certain amount of really, human things that you can connect to. Like being a kid who's sad you can't have cake.
I get sad about that all the time.
It's not like when I was doing a books of various saints throughout the ages, and one was so-and-so was a really holy kid who lived a holy life, and then they were super holy, and then they died. I can't do that. I've already messed up by not being a saint at 2.
Too late.
But crying because you missed cake. Yeah, I get that.
I can do that.
So we're down to our last 5. We're down to our last 5 now.
And these have all been declared doctors in the 21st century.
Yep. Heading towards the end. St. John of Avila.
Not to be confused with John of the Cross, who was good friends with Theresa of Avila.
Yes.
Different guy.
Completely different.
Although he lived at the same time.
Yeah. I know nothing about him or why he is not named something as a doctor, because again, all I had to be like, nope, not John of the Cross, different guy.
He's fairly new. He was a priest. He was declared a doctor by Benedict, so he knew what he was doing.
Yep.
Next, we have Saint Hildegard von Bingen, who had to be declared a saint so she could be declared a doctor.
Yep.
Even though everyone was like pretty sure she was already a saint for centuries.
She was on the way, but
she'd never been officially canonized.
Never been officially canonized, and somebody said, no, we need to make this person a doctor of the church. Somebody else went and said, well, you can't do that.
Again, it's little gentle God's panda known as God's Rottweiler saying, man, I think we should probably make a doctor of the church, and that'd be a very good thing. And so she's the doctor of everything, because again, we've talked about her before. She's kind of like a female Albert. She did everything, except she was more of a hands-on scientist.
Yep.
Yes.
Now we have the 2 doctors declared by, proclaimed such by Pope Francis.
Yep. Gregory of Nazianzus, and
who was Eastern, and that's basically all I know about him.
Yep, that's
Sorry,
and
he was Armenian.
Irenaeus of Lyon, the Doctor of Unity,
also
not to be confused with the Doctor of the Church's Unity, which was Leo the Great,
also known as the doctor who he wasn't already a doctor. When they're thinking about declaring someone a doctor of the church, they will take like a census of the bishops, and most people are like, wait, he's already a doctor? He was known as a church father, but not a doctor. So pretty much a slam dunk. This is the guy who wrote the extremely lengthy Against Heresies, refuting basically every kind of Gnosticism and a little weird heresy. You can use that against your Protestant friends who will claim, oh no, they were always Baptist or whatever. The church just suppressed it. It's like, listen, if it existed at the time, Irenaeus wrote it. He goes into excruciating detail sometimes.
And we are now to the showstopper. The reason that we started this episode.
The man of the hour.
The newest doctor of the church as of less than 2 weeks ago at the time of filming.
November 1st, All Saints Day. St. John Henry Newman.
Number 38. Has no doctor title yet, but has been named the co-patron of education, along with fellow doctor of the church, Thomas Aquinas.
He could be declared like a doctor of conversion, since he himself was received into the church as an adult after having been an Anglican priest.
His poem that was turned into a hymn, Lead Kindly Light, was quoted in the homily for the Mass. It was also the ending of the Jubilee of World Education, so it could be something about education. Also, at the time, because of course he was a British convert saint, they had both delegations from the UK government and the Church of England there. And so Pope Leo, during that time, also said he prayed that St. John Henry Newman would accompany the journey of Christian unity.
Christians toward full unity.
Which he stated to the Archbishop from the Church of England who was attending that. So he could be something like the doctor of building bridges or, Christian unity. It's just we have like 5 different doctors with unity in their name.
Unity is very important, and we have 2, but yes.
Unity is so important because we don't have enough of it.
Amen. One of the things that is cool about St. John Henry Newman is he's the first doctor to have written primarily in English. Now,
at least modern English, because Bede.
Well, again, that's about to say that, because Bede wrote a lot in Latin, but a lot in Old English. But Old English is a different language than English.
We don't count that as English.
You can't read Old English.
No.
It's an ancestor of modern English. It's closer to us than a lot of other things, but it's a different language.
Well, you can read Old English.
No,
you can, no. You can definitely
Middle English you have to read out loud.
Let's let him make his point.
You can definitely read Old English. You just first have to learn Old English. It's like German. You can read German, but you have to learn German first.
I can read Old English now. I wouldn't comprehend it, but I can sound out the words incorrectly.
Yeah,
Except they're written in different script.
What's this F? That's an S.
I do love that. Yeah. So, but John Henry Newman wrote in English. Now, it's Victorian English, so it will be impenetrable in its own way. And again, huge brain, so it might be difficult for those of us who are a little dim.
I'll still take Victorian over Elizabethan.
And it'll still be easier to understand his Victorian English than it will be John of the Cross's medieval Spanish poetry. Which is going to be difficult both because it's translated from Spanish and it's extremely high theological poetry.
Yes, it is dense in the English translation of modern English.
So you can, without learning a different language, you can read St. John Henry Newman's writings in his original language, even with all the funny spellings like color with a U.
But I like color with a U.
I'm not saying it's wrong. It just, as an American, it's bizarre. We are victims of Noah Webster, but victims the same.
Yes.
Especially like the words that he decided weren't from an origin that they were, and therefore changed them accordingly.
Yeah. Although I don't mind, I don't think we need a second M in program.
No, we don't need a second M or the E on the end, for that matter.
But before we get too distracted, so those are the doctors of the church. They all have something to teach us. I will say, just as a personal pet peeve, well, all pet peeves are personal. As a personal desire, I wish every doctor had at least an obligatory memorial. Because I think it would help to encourage study of the doctors among the lay faithful, and we could all use some more reading of good theology.
No, that's an extra 38 days of obligation.
No.
Memorials aren't days of obligation. Only like solemnities and all.
No. We said obligatory.
Well, obligatory memorial as opposed to optional memorial.
Which means you don't just read the daily mass. That's memorials readings.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm not saying any of them should be holy days of obligation.
Okay,
understandable. I understand why you think that. Yeah.
All right, so we've now gone and covered most of the question words regarding the doctors of the church. We've got the how are the doctors of the church made?
Who?
We got the who are the doctors of the church, and what is a doctor of the church. I now need to know
when. We covered when.
Yeah.
Okay, we kind of covered when.
We can do more on when.
I suppose we also technically got the why.
Because they wrote important theological and religious stuff.
Why.
And how?
No,
we already did. We should clarify a little more on the why.
Yeah.
Why are these 38 men and women declared doctors of the church?
Well, they all were exceptional intellects. They all... No. They all were exceptional intellects. Your qualms against Therese, notwithstanding.
I'm not insulting her. I'm simply stating it's not simply a contest to see who would give the A+.
But they were also like...
And some of them simply lived the faith so much that they did it in a way that gives us all something to strive for beyond the normal. They were a saintly person who lived a saintly life.
That's fair. That's fair. I will give you that.
But each one has to have at least written something instructive in doing so. Provided more than just their actual example.
In addition...
I now want to go and just self-publish the books. It's do good, be holy.
Let me know how that works for you.
I've got it. In addition, here's what we'll say. In addition to their living lives of saintly virtue, they all also... They also gave something of really substantial value to the to illuminating the doctrine or the theology, the teachings of the church. In whatever way that they did it, it may have been a life of spectacular virtue. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It may have been the incredible books that they wrote. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It may have been the very simple books that they wrote that are exceptionally deep pools for being the size that they are. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or just extraordinarily effective communicators.
Yes.
Peter Canisius didn't really plow any new theological ground, but he very effectively presented the faith in a way that won many people back to the faith after they'd been won over by heresy.
Yes.
Little catechisms. And I have to wonder if St. Charles Borromeo had lived longer, if he'd be a doctor of the church. Because he died, he was only 46. Mm-hmm. Or he may yet still.
You never know.
Yeah. Some of them took a very long time before they're like, I need to officially declare them a doctor of the church.
As evidenced by Albertus Magnus, whose student was in like the top 10.
Well, but it should be noted, the first four, the Latin doctors, weren't declared until 1298. Mm-hmm. And then Aquinas wasn't declared the fifth doctor until the 1560s. I want to say 1567, with then the four great Greek doctors declared the next year in 1568. So most of the doctors have been declared in what we would consider the modern era, the last 500 years.
But that's sort of my point. His student is top 5.
Yeah.
In there a long time before he got consideration. Yeah. But he still made it.
Well, again, he's Aquinas.
He's Aquinas.
He's in a competition with Augustine for like the most frequently quoted saint.
I feel like
who did write inspired scripture.
I feel like if the Popish plot had some sort of a sitcom type of production, kind of based off of the stylings of a Seinfeld episode, there would be a line in there which would just be, yeah, but he's Aquinas.
That's golden words, Jerry. Golden words.
Who ate all the sardines? I'm so mad. But it's Aquinas. Oh, never mind.
These sardines are making me thirsty. It's gonna be great.
Anyway, so now you know all the
question words regarding doctors of the church
and the H word. H word. Comment below with either who is your favorite doctor of the church or
who's one that you have never heard of before,
a saint you've just learned about, or a saint you think should be a doctor of the church who isn't yet.
Yeah.
Give this episode a like, subscribe to our channel, ring the church bell to be notified the next time we expand your mind.
Man. And remember, until next time, to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.